Welcome back, dear viewers, to another episode of Tales of Terror, your one-stop destination for the chilling, the macabre, and the downright horrifying. If you're returning, we appreciate your loyalty. If you're new, brace yourself for a journey into the darkest corners of human nature. As we delve into the minds of the world's most infamous criminals, remember, the stories we share here are not for the faint of heart. Today we present a case that has haunted the world for over half a century, a story of a shadowy figure who toyed with the law and left a trail of victims in his wake. But before we dive into the chilling tale, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our newest releases. Your support helps us continue to bring you these terrifying tales. Now let's descend into the enigma that is the Zodiac Killer. Imagine a killer who for years taunted the police and media with cryptic messages, yet eluded capture. This is the chilling story of the Zodiac Killer. In the annals of crime history, few names evoke as much intrigue as the Zodiac Killer. A shadowy figure who emerged from the foggy streets of Northern California in the late 1960s, the Zodiac Killer is a chilling enigma that has baffled investigators and captivated the public for over half a century. The Zodiac Killer wasn't just a murderer, oh no, he was a master manipulator, a puppeteer who reveled in the terror he sowed. He was a cunning strategist, leaving a trail of cryptic clues for the police to decipher, but always staying one step ahead, always out of reach. His crimes were not just acts of violence, they were psychological warfare, a macabre game where he held all the cards. The Zodiac Killer was more than just a serial murderer. He was a symbol of fear, of the unknown, of the dark underbelly of society that lurks just beneath the surface. He was a specter that haunted the public imagination, a boogeyman that parents whispered about to scare their children, a phantom that lurked in the shadows. Over the years, the fascination with the Zodiac Killer has only grown. Numerous books have been written, films have been made, and countless theories have been proposed about his identity. Yet, despite all the media attention and the tireless efforts of law enforcement, the Zodiac Killer remains a mystery. So who was the Zodiac Killer? A psychopath, a genius, a ghost? The truth is, we may never know. The Zodiac Killer is an enigma, a puzzle that is yet to be solved. He is a testament to the darkness that can reside in the human heart, a chilling reminder of the depths to which some can sink. The Zodiac Killer remains one of the most elusive and intriguing criminals in history. The Zodiac's reign of terror began on a cold winter night in December 1968. This was the night when the tranquil town of Benicia, California was forever marred by a heinous act of violence. The first known victims attributed to the Zodiac Killer were a young couple in the prime of their lives, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. They were high school students, just 17 and 16 years old respectively. On that fateful night, they decided to visit a popular lover's lane on Lake Herman Road, unaware of the terror that awaited them. Their bodies were discovered later, riddled with gunshot wounds. It was a gruesome sight, a stark contrast to the peaceful town they once knew. The case was a mystery that left the local police force perplexed. The crime scene offered little in the way of leads. There were no witnesses, no murder weapon, and no clear motive. The authorities were left grappling in the dark, trying to piece together a puzzle with too many missing pieces. The community was sent into a state of shock. The brutal murder of two innocent teenagers was something they could not comprehend. Parents began to fear for their children's safety, and the town's sense of security was shattered. The dark cloud of fear and uncertainty hung over Benicia like a heavy fog. The killings were cold, calculated, and seemingly random. They bore the chilling hallmark of a serial killer, but at the time, no one could have guessed the magnitude of what was to come. The police continued their relentless pursuit for answers, but the trail seemed to grow colder with each passing day. As weeks turned into months, the case grew more baffling. The killer had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of questions and a community living in fear. The authorities were left with a chilling mystery that seemed impossible to solve. Little did anyone know, these brutal murders were just the beginning of a deadly saga. This was the dawn of the Zodiac's reign of terror, a saga that would captivate and horrify the world for decades to come. In the summer of 1969, the Zodiac Killer made his presence known to the world, not with a bang, but with a chilling phone call. In the early hours of July 5th, the quiet of the Vallejo Police Department was shattered when an eerie voice on the other end claimed responsibility for the murder of Darlene Ferrin and the serious injury of Michael Mago at Blue Rock Springs Park. The caller also claimed responsibility for a previous attack that had taken place 6 months earlier, the murders of Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. This was the first time the mysterious figure we now know as the Zodiac Killer had made direct contact with the authorities. But the phone call was merely the overture to a far more sinister symphony. Shortly after the call, 3 separate newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, each received an identical, handwritten letter. In these letters, the killer not only claimed responsibility for the attacks, but also included a cryptic cipher, a coded message that he dared the police and the public to solve. This marked the beginning of the Zodiac's gruesome communication with the public. A communication that was not merely content with claiming responsibility for the murders, but seemed to relish in the terror it spread. The letters were a game to the Zodiac, a twisted play of cat and mouse where the stakes were life and death. The use of ciphers was a disturbing yet fascinating aspect of the Zodiac's modus operandi. This was his calling card, a unique signature that set him apart from other killers of his time. It was a testament to his cunning, his arrogance, and his utter disregard for the lives he had taken. This was no ordinary killer. This was a man who was not just content with murder. He wanted to spread fear, to control the narrative, to bask in the notoriety of his heinous acts. With these letters, the Zodiac Killer's reign of terror took a turn towards the macabre. In the following months, the Zodiac Killer would strike again, spreading fear throughout California. The terror that gripped the Golden State was palpable as the body count began to rise. The Zodiac Killer's spree of violence would extend from the tranquil setting of Lake Berryessa to the bustling streets of San Francisco, leaving a chilling trail of death in his wake. At Lake Berryessa, on a warm September afternoon, the Zodiac Killer would make his presence felt once again. 2 college students enjoying a peaceful day by the lake were brutally attacked. Their day of tranquility turned into a nightmare. The Zodiac had struck again, his reign of terror showing no signs of slowing down. Just a few weeks later, a taxi driver in San Francisco would become the next victim. The city, usually alive with the hustle and bustle of urban life, was now held captive by the fear of the unknown. The Zodiac Killer was no longer a distant threat confined to secluded areas. He had brought his reign of terror into the heart of the bustling metropolis. But the Zodiac's spree was characterized by more than just his brutal attacks. He had a chilling habit of contacting law enforcement and media after his crimes, further instilling fear and proving his cunning nature. He would send letters, often including cryptic messages and ciphers, to local newspapers, taking perverse pleasure in taunting those who sought to catch him. His communications served as a terrifying reminder of his actions and his continued freedom, creating an atmosphere of dread that permeated throughout California. Despite an intense manhunt involving local and federal law enforcement, the Zodiac Killer remained elusive. His ability to stay one step ahead of the authorities, combined with his chilling communications, only served to enhance the fear and mystery surrounding him. The Phantom Killer had managed to turn California into his own personal hunting ground, leaving the residents to wonder who would be his next target. Despite an intense manhunt, the Zodiac Killer remained a phantom, always one step ahead of the authorities. Among the Zodiac's most intriguing aspects were his cryptic ciphers, puzzles that held the promise of revealing his identity. The Zodiac Killer didn't just leave a trail of terror. He left a trail of codes, a series of complex cryptic ciphers that he sent to various newspapers. These were not just random scribbles. They were calculated, intricate puzzles that hinted at the twisted mind behind the murders. 4 ciphers in total were received by the media, each one more perplexing than the last. The first cipher, a simple substitution cipher, was divided into 3 parts and sent to 3 different newspapers, a chilling game of cat and mouse. This cipher was quickly cracked by a couple from Salinas, California, revealing a creepy message in which the Zodiac claimed to kill not for revenge or hatred, but for sport. The second cipher, known as the Z340, baffled experts for over 50 years. Its complex structure and unique characteristics resisted all attempts at decryption until December 2020, when a team of international codebreakers finally cracked it. This cipher revealed a disjointed message, full of misspellings and odd phrasings, further deepening the mystery of the Zodiac Killer. The third and fourth ciphers, each sent separately, have never been definitively solved. They continue to confound cryptographers and law enforcement agencies alike, adding to the enigma of the Zodiac Killer. These ciphers, like the murders themselves, were a part of the Zodiac's twisted game, his own personal theater of horror and suspense. The Zodiac's ciphers were not just a means of communication, they were a challenge, a taunt, a way for the killer to prove his intellectual superiority. They were an integral part of his modus operandi, a part of his identity as the Zodiac Killer. Despite numerous attempts to crack these codes, most of them have remained unsolved, each cipher a testament to the Zodiac's cunning and intelligence. The ciphers, like the Zodiac Killer himself, remained an enigma wrapped in a riddle. Each one is a piece of a puzzle that, even after all these years, we're still trying to solve. A puzzle that continues to haunt us, a reminder of a killer who was never caught, a story that was never concluded. The Zodiac Killer's spree seemed to end as abruptly as it began, leaving a trail of unsolved mysteries in its wake. Just as the 70s dawned, the Zodiac's known activities seemed to suddenly halt. After 1974, the chilling letters and cryptic ciphers ceased. The murders stopped. It was as if the Zodiac had vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the cold chill of his ruthless legacy. Despite the abrupt end to his reign of terror, the investigations didn't stop. Over the years, dedicated detectives, amateur sleuths, and even curious civilians have pored over the evidence, searching for the elusive answers. They've followed leads, deciphered codes, and analyzed the Zodiac's chilling communications, all in a bid to unmask the infamous killer. Yet, despite their best efforts, the Zodiac's true identity remains shrouded in mystery. One of the most perplexing aspects of this case is the sheer number of suspects. Over the years, more than 2,500 individuals have been considered potential Zodiacs. Some were compelling, their lives intersecting with the Zodiac's crimes in eerie ways. Others, however, seemed less likely. Despite the extensive list of potential culprits, none have been definitively proven to be the Zodiac. So why did the Zodiac stop? Some theories suggest he may have died or been incarcerated for unrelated crimes. Others propose he may have simply lost interest or even moved to another location, continuing his spree under a different guise. And what about his identity? Was he a criminal mastermind cleverly evading capture? Or was he just an average individual hiding in plain sight? The theories are as numerous as they are varied, each one adding another layer to the mystery. In the end, the Zodiac case is a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement and the public, the picture remains incomplete. The unanswered questions continue to loom, casting long shadows over the annals of criminal history. The Zodiac Killer's true identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminal history. Even decades later, the Zodiac Killer's shadow looms large over the world of true crime. This infamous figure, known for his cryptic ciphers and chilling letters, has left an indelible mark on popular culture, becoming an enduring symbol of the unknown, the unsolvable, and the utterly terrifying. The Zodiac's influence has permeated every corner of our society, from literature to film, television, and even podcasts. The case has inspired countless crime novels, with authors spinning tales of elusive killers who, like the Zodiac, taunt the authorities with cryptic messages and chilling threats. In the realm of cinema, the Zodiac's story has been immortalized in several films, most notably David Fincher's 2007 thriller Zodiac, which meticulously chronicles the investigation into the killer's identity. In recent years, the Zodiac Killer has also found a home in the world of podcasting, with numerous true crime enthusiasts dedicating hours of airtime to dissecting the case, analyzing the killer's letters, and speculating on his identity. These podcasts have not only kept the Zodiac story alive, but they've also brought it to a whole new generation of listeners, keeping the fascination with this unsolved case alive and thriving. The Zodiac case has also spurred on countless amateur sleuths, armchair detectives if you will, who have dedicated their time and resources in an attempt to crack the case that has baffled professionals for over half a century. It's a testament to the enduring allure of the Zodiac mystery, a puzzle that, in spite of the passage of time, remains as captivating as it is confounding. The Zodiac Killer, a name synonymous with mystery and terror, continues to captivate and confound us to this day. His crimes, his ciphers, his taunts, they've all become part of the fabric of true crime lore. A chilling reminder of a killer who was never caught, a mystery that was never solved. Before we draw the curtains on this chilling journey through the shadows of the Zodiac Killer, we have a quick reminder for our dedicated viewers. If you found this deep dive into the enigma of the Zodiac Killer intriguing, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps us understand what you enjoy and encourages us to continue creating more content that feeds your curiosity. Moreover, subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell ensures you won't miss out on our latest videos. From unsolved mysteries to deep dives into the human psyche, we're dedicated to bringing you the most intriguing stories from around the world. Your support is what fuels our passion for uncovering and sharing these stories. It allows us to continue investigating and presenting the captivating, the confounding, and the downright chilling tales that our world has to offer. So thank you for your continued support and for being an integral part of our journey into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, the world is full of stories waiting to be told.